message that I got for you, and it's quite an interesting message. It says like meandering through country roads. So I feel like a lot of you could be traveling. A lot of you might be getting lost, so make sure you have your phone charged with a GPS, or have a map ready, because GPS technology tends to malfunction. So just make sure you have like a physical map if you are traveling, because I feel like a lot of detours, a lot of I'm getting an energy of getting lost. Okay. What I'm also feeling is I feel like there's somebody who is, like they say a delivery person, and they're also meandering through, through many, many paths. And I feel like they're bringing a letter. So I feel like if you are waiting on some type of communication, it might get lost, or you might have to deal with a situation where you submitted something via, snail mail, and then it gets lost, okay? In this day and age, everything that we do, you want to get like a backup copy. So that means making copies of whatever documents you're about to send out, and then call back and check on it, like, in a week or in 2 weeks, just to make sure that the letter, the official documents are going where they're supposed to go. So that's what I'm feeling for a lot of you. Some things might get lost in the mail if you are sending it out. And I'm also feeling like a lot of road trips with you guys. I'm also getting like some type of a vacation spot, okay? Like I see you on top of this tower overlooking like water, like it looks like a resort. And I feel like you're physically there, enjoying the view, but I feel like your mind and your heart is elsewhere. I feel like your mind and your heart is with another person. So you might be going on vacation, and your loved ones, the person that you are really connected to, is not there with you, or you are missing them and things like that. So even though you're in this really beautiful, luxurious environment, it seems almost as if you can't really, really enjoy yourself, mainly because they're not there to share that experience with you. And then for those of you who are meandering through the wilderness or the country road, I definitely see some type of a lot of scenery, a lot of like travel in a I feel like it's not very industrial, so it could be like, in the farm, like in a farmland in another country, that is not as developed as where you're used to. Or I just feel like a lot of hills, bluffs, really nice change in terrain, and a lot of nice scenery. So I feel like you're gonna be quite happy, because I know a lot of us Sagittarius love, love, love to travel, and I feel like a lot of you might not be traveling by plane, by air. You might just be going by either train, because I'm seeing you looking out the window a lot. There were too many cards that fell out, so I had to reshuffle. And I feel like by car, by train, possibly even, but I don't see so much water. So I'm not getting a lot of water. So let me see if there's anything else that I'm getting here. I just feel like, Sagittarius, the overwhelming energy that I'm getting is that you want to be very, very appreciative of everything that is in your immediate environment, okay? So that means if people are reaching out to you, definitely take the time to respond. And I feel like it seems to me like, there's this divide between heart and mind. It's like you're in one place physically, but your mind is elsewhere, your thoughts are elsewhere, your heart is divided. So it feels to me like you're not really living in the moment, and you want to be very careful about that, okay? The universe gives us a lot of blessings, and we have to seize the opportunity. We have to learn to live in the moment, and to really be appreciative of everything, of all of the abundance, all of our blessings. So even in times where, you might not feel like you have enough, you feel like you're living in a state of constant lack, you want to make sure that, I know it's very cliche for me to say, but as long as we have like a roof over our heads, a car to drive, money to put gas in the tank, and we have people that care about us, we are ultimately blessed, okay? Some people don't have those things. So I feel like living in the moment and bringing yourself back to really fully invest yourself emotionally in the moment, rather than spacing out, zoning out, or thinking about, how this situation could be so much better if only such and such person were there to experience it with you, okay? So just be appreciative for the here and now. That's going to really help you navigate the energies of this month. The last thing that I'm feeling here is it almost seems to me as if, somebody significant to you might be contemplating a travel, and they might actually do it this month, and you might be away from them for a period of time, like an extended period of time. So you're already like, oh man, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with that? So all of these things are coming through. So if you're not traveling, I feel like someone significant to you, possibly a romantic partner or possibly a spouse or something like that. Someone significant is coming through that might be dealing with travel. So I feel that coming in, okay? So let me see if there's anything else. I'm getting like, hazy, fuzzy communication across the board, but I feel like it's going to get cleared up. Okay, so let's go into this reading here. The first card that came out of the deck here is the Temperance card, and the Temperance card is all about moderation. It's about like doing things in a manner where you're getting just the right amount, okay? So this is a card about not overindulging, not excessively ruminating over things. So I feel like it's a lot more about enjoying the moment and being present in the moment, okay? The Temperance card, when it comes out, it could basically mean a situation that requires a lot of delicate, I guess, communication. It's linked up here with the Ace of Swords, which indicates to me that you might be in a situation where there is communication coming through and you're feeling a little bit topsy-turvy. Your emotional state is riled up. I feel like it's a very positive combination, but it's basically telling you to be a little bit more, I almost feel like to be a little bit more like thoughtful and to think some things through before you communicate. So I feel the element of, communication coming in very, very strongly, where you're going to have to be really, really deliberate and careful about the words that you use, the way that the other person that you're communicating with might misconstrue, or might misunderstand what you're saying. So be careful about communication and be careful about, delicate communication, delivering bad news or delivering good news in a way where, it doesn't become too disruptive or too upsetting for the other person. So that's what I feel is coming through for a lot of you. When I first pulled out this card, I got a really positive, message. I got a really positive image, and the rainbow in the background usually indicates to me like finding silver linings in all of life's situations, okay? And I definitely feel like the energy for this month is very, it's like a little bit of a mixed bag. So I definitely feel like a lot of you have gone through some situations last month where there has been like, a lot of clarity that came through, okay? So this is kind of like that silver lining moment where, after the rainstorm, then the rainbow comes out. So you're approaching this month with a lot of optimism, with a lot of cheerful energy, with a new, like a renewed sense of like loving your life, or really enjoying your life. That's what I'm sensing. And it's interesting mainly because to, I guess, cut through the fog, and it brought about a new day. Okay, so right now you're feeling very good, very optimistic, and I do sense that, this energy is going to continue through the rest of this month, okay? So cutting through the fog is one of the main things that I'm getting here. For those of you who have been dealing with like lack of motivation, I'm sensing, or getting too much either caffeine or sugar in your diet, and you were feeling like very lethargic, or feeling like you had to wean yourself from dependency on some type of substance. I'm not getting like illegal substances. I'm feeling more like mundane things such as alcohol, such as like sugar, coffee, tea, something like that you ingest on a regular basis that you don't even think about, and then all of a sudden you realize that, you know what, it's making me feel a little bit out of shape, or it's making me feel like I'm not operating at my best, so I'm going to try to wean out that substance from my life, okay? And I feel like it could just be sugar. I'm getting sugar crystals for some reason from this spread. So I feel like you're doing some type of revamping when it comes to your personal eating or drinking habits. And I feel like it's done, so like you're cutting back. You're doing things in moderation. You're trying to slim down, I feel, for a lot of you. So I definitely feel like not only are you exercising, you're also slimming down based on the calorie intake that you're putting in your body, okay? Which is great. And I feel like you're doing a little bit more research as to how you can accomplish your goals. And that comes through here with the Hermit. So the second cluster here is we have the Hermit card as well as the Devil card. And both of these are, I feel like this is a lot of realization, a lot of like this jolt to the system type of an awakening, okay? So if you look at this situation in combination, it seems almost as if, you know, someone is telling you, hey, look at this situation where, you know, you were very bound, you were very stuck, and you weren't very happy. Do you want to continue being in this place, or do you want to break yourself free? So if you can interpret the cards, okay, the Devil deals with restriction. The Hermit deals with your spirit guides, your higher wisdom, higher truths that are trying to come through for you to get you to understand a specific situation. So I feel like both of these two cards in combination with one another and the way that they are depicted in these two cards, it indicates to me that there is a unhealthy habit in your life that the universe is trying to force you to face, to confront, and to break those chains of control, okay? There is a situation that you guys need to really reassess to get yourself out of, because I feel like it's not really serving you anymore. It's taking away your free will, and this can be dependency in terms of, you know, drugs, alcohol. I didn't see that earlier, but the Devil card can be very, very severe in that, you know, drugs, alcohol, addictions to all kinds of substances, okay? And it could be even as a simple, mundane as sugar to, you know, the most extreme form is, you know, sex addiction, alcohol, drugs. So whatever that one situation is in your life, I feel like a lot of you are realizing that you need to make a change, that it's really affecting your ability to think clearly, because I'm getting a lot of fogginess with these two energies where you're kind of like in a daze, you're kind of daydreaming, you're kind of lethargic. I feel like you know, having that sugar crash where you or like food coma, yeah, food coma, where you eat a lot and you feel very, very tired, you feel unmotivated. So I definitely feel a lot of you are re-examining something that is like sapping away your energy, is keeping you very stuck, you don't have control over it, or you feel like it's running your life. So regaining this sense of, you know, human agency, free will is going to be really important to you, for you. I feel a lot of you are aware of this. You might have swept it under the rug. I'm getting that it has been, you know, shown to you, and a few of you might be sweeping it under the rug. And I feel like, you know, possibly around the last week of the month, some information comes through, like some type of information comes through, official information comes through. I'm getting letters and things like that, news letters and things like that coming through that might tell you, you know what, I need to, you know, break away from this. And I feel that you are going to be able to break away from this in a way that is really, really healthy, okay? So first of all, we have the Three of Swords, which indicates to me some type of a separation. This can be, you know, like physically removing yourself from a situation that was not healthy for you, from a person that was not healthy for you, and moving forward in a manner where you are going to, you know, like you are going to be able to reclaim your power, okay? You are going to be able to chart a new territory, a new path for yourself. So both of these, you know, you don't usually see this combination happening, And I rarely see it in a cluster, but when it shows up for me, it usually means separate yourself from something so that you can achieve some type of a better offer, or even like some type of a spiritual or even emotional cleansing. Okay, so I do feel a lot of you are doing some detoxing, a lot of you are exercising, a lot of you are really disciplining your body and your mind. um I feel a lot of lethargy with this spread, so I feel like a lot of you might not be getting good news when it comes to blood sugar, for example, and then you're going to implement a lot of cardio exercise into your routine. That's what I'm feeling. A lot of you might be getting, like some news about, health, and then you're like, okay, I need to whip myself in shape, so I need to like take better care of my health. So you're weaning yourself away from some type of a habit or something that was not good for you. It kept you very, very restricted. It kept you feeling very hopeless, and you're separating yourself from it. It is a painful process, and I feel like a lot of you will be dealing with this throughout this month. And I do feel that, the Three of Swords, it looks really scary, but it is a card in the minor arcana. So the effect of it, I feel like it's not as detrimental as like the Tower or something, from the major arcana. But I feel like a lot of you need to do this, okay? Need to separate yourself from a situation that was really unhealthy. And I feel for some of you, it's because there is a new situation in the works, or because this has been a very, very bad, toxic environment. And as a result of it, of separating yourself from it, you're going to be able to achieve a lot more healing, a lot of growth, and a lot of new abundance that is going to be emotionally fulfilling for you. So the last cluster here is the Prince of Swords and the Five of Swords. The Prince of Swords indicates an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. This is somebody that comes through with with a very direct energy. They're quite aggressive. They're quite brave, courageous, okay? So a lot of you might be dealing with this person in whatever capacity. I feel like they're bringing some news, and they're like, you see them as almost like the knight in shining armor, okay? And going back to this situation where we have the Three of Swords here, I feel like the energy is very, very similar. So it's also linked up here with the Five of Swords, which basically means that, the Five of Swords is a card that indicates some type of a swift victory. Although it's considered a victory, no one is really winning. It's like winning at somebody else's expense, okay? So you might be dealing with somebody who's very, very courageous, rash, but they are not very cautious about the way they communicate. They might say things to upset you, or they might unknowingly say some things to upset you. And I feel like this is not somebody who is totally a team player, meaning not because they're not nice, but they're very independent. They're very come and go, and their energy is like very malleable, like very swift and sudden, kind of like the wind. So I'm getting, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, someone who's very, very independent. And I feel like don't take the things that they say at face value, because they're just very blunt, okay? They don't mean to hurt you, because I feel like they're just really blunt. Whatever they think, they will say it, and they're not very like thoughtful when it comes to other people's feelings. They're not as delicate, so I feel like they're not as thoughtful. I wouldn't, like dwell too much on this situation. So going back to the Three of Swords, a lot of you might be separating yourself from an old situation, and then, going off, charting a new territory, and really putting your foot down. I feel like for a lot of you, you might be encountering a new person here. So this can be an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra that you are, that you might be leaving. If it's a partnership, like a work partnership, business partnership, or it's somebody in your work environment, I definitely feel like this person might be the one that's leaving. If they are causing problems for you in your work environment, I feel like they're wrapping up their stuff and leaving. For some of you, it could be multiple air signs, okay? So I'm getting that, mainly with this Five of Swords. If there has been troublesome people in your work environment, for example, I feel like they're going away. They're the ones picking up their bags, and you might have to deliver some bad news, but they're picking up their bags and they're going. So I feel like bad elements are being weaned out of your life for this month, and it looks like it's a very empowering type of energy that's coming through, where things are kind of like cleared off the desk in a very swift manner so that you can begin anew. Okay, so it's all very good. So the advice here, we do have the Empress. And the Empress indicates, very, very strong pregnancy vibes. For some of you, there could be, new love coming through via children. So this can be adopting a child, taking on the role of the nurture, the maternal figure or the paternal figure, and new people being brought into your life, a new child, a birth of a child, or especially, like adopted children. So I definitely feel like um, this combination could also mean like, once again, something is with you, right? So let's say, for example, you're carrying a baby and you might deliver this month. So there might be, some type of sharp objects involved. You might deliver, and then you have like a new bundle of joy. So that's one interpretation of this. I rarely see it in together. So, but with the Empress card, it deals with pregnancy. It deals with like the mother figure. So I definitely feel like themes surrounding children, child rearing, and maturation, children leaving the nest, for example, going to a different situation where they have to fend for themselves, and it's all a part of a growing process. It might be difficult for you to accept, but I feel like you're going to do it no matter what. And I definitely feel like you're going to be playing the role of the mother or the father figure for this month for a lot of you. Okay, what I'm also feeling here is if you have recently had somebody that passed away, and this is like I feel like a very strong sister mother vibe. Okay, if you've had somebody that recently passed away, I definitely feel like there's a lot of guidance, spiritual guidance, that is coming through for you for this month. And the spiritual guidance is coming through to tell you these are the things that you really have to cut out of your life, okay? Either like I feel drinking, smoking, sugar intake, taking better care of your health. So you're getting some type of spiritual advice regarding something that you've been doing that is not really serving you anymore. So you're going to have to wean it out of your life. And for some of you, this is going to be, you're going to have a lot of success, okay? So I feel like the way to do this is to keep yourself very, very busy, because I get the feeling that, like idle hands are the devil's playground. It's sort of like, I feel like you naturally, Sagittarius, are very impatient. Not more than other people, but you are naturally, just impatient as a fire sign. And I feel like if you keep yourself very, very busy, you can overcome anything. So if you keep yourself busy, if you occupy your time with a lot of things to do, then, like physical activities, running, jogging, guitar, like taking on new hobbies, it keeps you very grounded, because then your fire energy will have like a proper healthy channel to dissipate itself. Okay, so I feel like if you are not keeping yourself busy, you might resort to like like snacking all the time. So be very careful about that. That's the message I'm getting here. And I feel like you're getting some type of inspiration to change your life, drastically change your life, change the way you look, revamp your style, cut out some things from your diet so that you can, be healthier. Okay, a lot of you might be taking a relationship to the next level regarding some children. I feel for some of you, there might have been, I feel like some type of difficulties getting pregnant in the past, mainly because of like, I feel like miscarriages and things like that. This is the month in which it's coming into the picture where you might have where if you've had been trying to get pregnant in the past, this is a very, very fertile month for you, okay? And I feel like even though you might be trying, there's still some apprehension about it because of some past disappointments, okay? I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but I definitely feel like that energy is coming through, and it's basically telling you any type of, so actually the sun is in Libra right now, in the constellation of Libra. Any type of like makeovers, any type of beautification or, you know, revamping process, it's going to be very good for you. Like a beautification process, you know, changing your hairstyle, changing the way you look. I feel like all of these things would be highly supported, okay? I'm going to go into your love reading and see what's going on for you guys. Okay. So what's going on for Sagittarius for love and relationships? You know, Sagittarius, for some reason, I'm getting a lot of dizziness, and you know that vertigo feeling. Make sure that you get enough rest. Make sure you drink a lot of water, because I'm just getting like, you know, vertigo. That sense of, if you are out and about and exploring, for example, it's interesting. The tower is here. If you're out and about exploring, you know, be careful, okay? So I'm getting like, yeah, just a little bit of a dizzy energy. Okay. So let's see this situation here. Okay, so let's talk about the past, because that's a better starting point, especially with this spread, okay? In the past position, we have the Two of Cups and the Knight of Cups. And I'm not going to read reversals with this deck, mainly because I want to just, you know, start out telling a story. What I feel happened in the past, this is something I feel like might not be in your life anymore, but I definitely feel here. In the past position, we have a water sign, okay? So this is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And I feel like this is a person that you have invested a lot of your time, your energy, and your, you know, your love and your devotion in, okay? And I feel like you were waiting for a very, very long time for some type of communication from this person. And this can be their sun, moon, or rising. I feel like a big part of you feels this sense of connectedness with this person. The Two of Cups usually denotes a situation where it's like a soul connection. You know, it's like a past life energy, a soul connection where you meet somebody and your soul recognizes them. And whenever I see the Two of Cups, I usually think of it, you know, in terms of astrology, some type of a sign interchange. So, for example, if you're a Sagittarius sun, they might be a Sagittarius moon. If you are like a Sagittarius rising, they might have like a Sagittarius sun. So there's something in terms of like sign interchange between you and another person. So I feel like because of it, you might like encounter one another multiple times. Like you might go somewhere and automatically see them there. So there's this sense of like fatedness, almost like serendipity associated with you and this person. And as a result of that, you know, of like seeing all of these coincidences happen in your life and their life, you know, for you end up at the same place at the same time, or you know the same friends, or something like really serendipitous. You feel as if this situation is fated. Like that's the way that you feel, okay? If you're not dealing with this person, then I feel like that's the way that they feel. So you might feel like Well, if they're not meant for me, why do I keep running into them? Well, a lot of the times when we have similar signs, so that means, let's say if you're, well, you're the Sagittarius, but if you're a Sagittarius sun, they're a Sagittarius moon, um, I feel like there are certain planetary transits and aspects that will draw you to come to a specific place at a specific time. And that is like, it's its own, cosmic way of making things come together. So, because of that, everyone with those signs, might cross your paths. Everyone with those same placement might cross your paths. So, it's just the way that the universe works. It's just the way that astrology works. And I feel like you might be putting a little bit way too much stock into like that whole sense of like karmic connection, and as a result of it, you might cling on to a situation that is not appropriate to you because you feel like it's meant to be. Okay, so be very careful about that. And these are very, very good cards overall, so I'm not knocking it, but what I mean to say here is there is such thing as divine intervention. I do believe that. There's also such things as human free will. Okay, and I feel like by seeing a situation through the lens of like karma and fatedness, it's not letting you take control of your free will. It's not letting you exercise, really taking control and taking stock of what this situation entails. For example, if it's very toxic and you're still in it because you feel like, oh, we're fated to be together, we're fated to experience this karma together. Well, actually, no. You're fated to meet, to learn a lesson, and to move forward from it, okay? So dumping your energy in an avenue, in a person that is not a healthy relationship partner for you, you want to be careful. So there is divine intervention, but there is also free will. And finding, whatever, no matter what happens, exercising your free will is something that you're going to have to do for this month. I feel that energy coming through so heavily. And a lot of it has to do with moderation, like not erring too much on relying on like karma and destiny, and then not relying way, way, way too much on like forcing things. So I feel like that middle ground is going to have to be reached for you, okay? And the most important thing here is, in order to have a harmonious relationship, right? In order to have a harmonious relationship, the other person has to be on board, okay? So if the other person is giving their all, then yes, it seems like, that's legitimate. So then it requires a lot more work from your end, right? So it's give and take. And then September, you might have met somebody new. And if you have somebody in your life, I definitely feel like it seems almost like this karmic relationship, okay? Which brings us to the present moment. In the present moment, we have the Eight of Cups, okay? So a lot of you might have moved away from a person, might have like found out that this situation, it seemed like it was very serendipitous. It seemed like it was more than just coincidental. I feel like the other person was something, wanted more out of it than you were willing to give, okay? Or you found out that, maybe they were misrepresenting themselves. But either way, I feel like one person is a lot more invested than the other person, because I feel like one person is coming in, bringing in, and the other person is not really reciprocating. So there's something going on in the past where you have been dealing with this person, and I feel like you're moving away from it. Here we have the Eight of Cups, and the Eight of Cups is a situation that you've invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of love and affection in, is not panning out the way that you want. So you are going to have to like move away from it in order to find something that is more conductive, that you can do or devote your time to, okay? So it's kind of like redirecting your energy to another avenue, another person. What's linked up with it here is the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. And what it's telling me here is I feel like you've moved away from a very, very emotional relationship. And I feel like for a lot of you, you're in a new situation that is really, it's like more fun, more exciting, more intellectually stimulating. But it might be lacking in the emotional front, okay? So in the past, there was this really heavy emotional energy. And you feel like, this is the one for me. And then when that relationship fell apart, I feel like you jumped into another situation, and it wasn't heavy. It wasn't like an emotional heavy experience. It was more fun, more excitement. But I feel like there's a sense of lacking instability associated with it, okay? What's crowning this reading? And the crowning energy is something that you are thinking about. We do have the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups here is a water sign. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, excuse me. It's so what you're thinking about here is potentially that past love, that past relationship where, it seemed very serendipitous. It seemed very fated. It seemed like everything fell into place and you didn't have to really push for things. Everything was just there. Everything had like a slot for it. And it seemed like everything came together in a very, very neat way and you didn't have to go ahead with it. But at the same time, you're also realizing that, it was a very emotionally draining type of a relationship. It might have started out in a very stable manner, but I do sense that the other person, they're a little bit too intense for you, okay? And by that, what I mean by that, too intense, is emotionally, they might be very, they need a lot of validation. They might need a lot of alone, like, together time with you. They might have been possessive. They might have behaved in a way where they might be jealous for all the wrong reasons. So I feel like some element of emotional fluctuations with somebody that you were dealing with in the past, okay? So what you're thinking about now here is the Queen of Cups as well as the Tower. And I feel like there is a water sign, so Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, coming back in, okay? So I feel like for some of you, you might have been interested in a person that was attached. And they were attached, so you respected their boundaries. And you moved on. You found somebody else, and you are now in a relationship that is very, very fun, exciting, lighthearted, but it didn't have that heart and that soul that you're looking for. And you might get news that, the other person has either broken up with the Tower here with their significant other, so they might have a relationship status change. You might find out about this through mutual friends. You might find out about it through social media, through some light internet stalking, that they're no longer with their significant other and you're thinking about them, and you're thinking about them a lot in a more loving, lustful way. So I feel like that might be happening for some of you. Water signs specifically, okay? So I feel like there is some change in a water sign's relationship status. If they were in a heavy relationship and you've always liked them, but they weren't, emotionally, they were always with another person, they weren't single, then I definitely feel like you finding out about a change in their status, okay? So it could even be like, if they were single, then you might find out they're in a relationship, and that can work out too. And if you have been like, crushing on them, I feel like they might be now single. And I feel like for some of you, they might be single and they might be reciprocating your feelings, or they might be trying to reach out to you. Now, the foundation here, the foundation is the situation on which the whole entire, story is built upon. This is something that we know to be true, okay? We have the Seven of Cups as well as the Seven of Swords. And both of these cards indicates a lot of things like pitfalls that you need to be careful about, okay? The Seven of Cups is a card about fantasy. And this is a card about, having many options, being inundated with options, being sought after, and being in a really good space, okay? All of these options are not always good for us. So when we find ourselves, the world opening up for us, and all these options are presenting themselves, I feel like that's when you need to be judicious about which ones you are expending your energy and your time to go forward with, okay? Because what you see is not always what you get here with the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords indicates some type of a sneaky behavior in which there is potential here. Both of these cards indicate temptation. Doing something that we're not supposed to because of lust, because of feelings, because of these raw emotions that we're not able to pin down, okay? So be careful about the choices that are given to you, and you know, really trust your intuition with this, because I feel like you might be um tempted with an offer, and the offer seems like, you know, I feel like I feel like because you know the two cards is like, one is a cup suit and the other one is a sword suit. I feel like you just might have two options. You might have somebody that is coming through giving you, you know, like this wedded bliss, you know, this fantasy, okay? If you're dealing with a water sign, so the water sign is like somebody, if it's somebody from the past, I feel like you might have they might have like painted a rosy picture. And then on the other hand, the air sign might have like a situation where they're attached with someone, but they're not complete. Like they're, you know, they might be separated, but they're not completely detached or severed completely. So there's some type of fantasy here, and there's some type of deception that you need to be careful about, okay, Sagittarius? So what I feel, and this can, there are many scenarios here. I feel like some of you might be dealing with both, okay? Water sign and then air sign. So water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio from the past. You might be married to this person as well, and then you have a temptation coming through. And just be very careful about that. The temptation might be the air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. A lot of you might have dealt with, like, you know, somebody from the past that could be a water sign, and they painted a rosy picture. They're trying to come back in, and you're with somebody else. Okay, so I feel that coming through. Now, what's in the future position here? We have the Emperor and the Page of Swords, okay? So both of these things indicate to me that I feel like strongly, Sagittarius, you are the one with the two options. You're the one that has control in this situation. And I feel like, I almost feel like I'm not telling you things that you don't already know. You know who's sneaky, because based on this past energy, you know, like, I feel like you're doing some type of internet, I don't know, research or something, but you're coming across some type of information about another person. You're coming across, it's almost like the scrying card. She's looking into a bucket of water, and she's privy to some type of information that, you know, that the other person doesn't know about. So I feel like you're aware of what you're doing, okay? So I feel like no matter what, you're the one that is kind of like the larger than life persona, and the other two people are coming through, offering you something, and you know that it's not entirely real. The offer is not entirely real. They're painting a rosy picture, but I feel like you might be leading them on just to see if they're going to deliver. But I feel like you're keeping your feelings very close to your chest. Is sincere. I do sense that you know it, okay? So I don't feel like this is anything that I'm telling you that is groundbreaking at all, because I do feel like the energy is very other oriented. That means they're the one bringing you these things, but I feel like you're sharp and you're observant, okay? Let me see what else is coming through here in terms of the advice. Okay, I'm going to pull out 3 cards for you guys. Okay. Okay, so in terms of the advice here, we do have the 3 of Swords. And the 3 of Swords is basically warning us that, you know, this is for you to really re-examine whoever that has broken your heart. just don't even give it the time of day, okay? Because I feel like in this situation, it's sort of like, you know, once burned, twice shy. So this person is very, very protective of their heart. They're carrying these wounds with them, and the heart has swords in it. So like they're still trying to nurse a broken heart. And I feel like whoever has hurt you in the past, they might be coming back in, and you might still be communicating with them. But I feel like you know better, okay? You might be longing for that connection, but I feel like a lot of you know better. You know that it's not going to go anywhere. So I feel like you're not fooling yourself. What else is coming through here? We have the King of Coins. And the King of Coins, this is what I call, you know, like the standard Mr. Right. And I feel what's happening here is that a lot of you have met somebody that you feel a very strong connection to, like that, you know, karmic soul type of a connection. But if he or she shows up as the Mr. or Mrs. Right and they have hurt you in the past, you want to be a little bit careful, okay? And then also, if somebody's coming from your past and you're in the present situation with somebody that you feel is the Mr. or Mrs. Right, you want to be very careful about not stepping out on the relationship, okay, Sagittarius? Because the last card here is the Wheel of Fortune, which basically means things are turning around for you. The series of, you know, disappointing relationships being used, I feel, and also like, you know, dealing with people who promised you the moon and never delivered. I feel like a lot of you have been pretty jaded, and you're trying to start dating again. So this is the combination that I feel coming through. You're ruminating over something still from the past, and it didn't pan out. And because you're still facing this way and so focused on it, the right person is not able, you know, to get your attention. And once you are able to nurse this broken heart and to move on, I definitely feel you have some very, very good options on the table, okay? So, and I also have a donation link. If you'd like to use that, I'd really appreciate it. I will talk to you soon, and see you in about 2 weeks, okay? Bye-bye.